Hi everyone, I'm Sarah DeCiccio. I'm a certified holistic health coach and I'm the big boss lady of Finding Your Well Spot, and I'm also partnered with USANA Health Sciences. So it's been a while since I did a video and I'm so excited to be back. Now that the kids are in school full time, this is going to give me more time to do concentrate more on videos and teaching you more about health. So I'm really excited about that. So first of all, it is apple season, basically. There's so many people who are getting apples and delicious apples from their apple trees. I think I need to grow an apple tree because I was getting pretty jealous. But thank goodness I have a wonderful neighbor, Cindy, that gave me a big bag full of apples. And it's great when you can grow your own apples because apples are on the Dirty Dozen list of, they're in the top 3 of the most fruit that has the most chemicals and pesticides on it, I should say, like that have been sprayed. So it's great if you can grow your own apples, then you're getting a great organic apple. So the reason I am teaching you about apples today, let me just tell you about a story. For one, I am specializing in gut health because all diseases begin in the gut, and if your gut is off, then everything is off with you health-wise. So quick story, if you haven't heard my story before, my husband was sick for 4.5 years. We exhausted every avenue in Canada trying to figure out what was wrong with him. We went to a holistic hospital called Sonavive, and they were the ones that discovered what was wrong with him. So basically, he has a leaky gut. He had 13 food sensitivities. He has a genetic disorder with his liver. So you have 2 phases of your liver that detoxify, phase 1 and phase 2, and his phase 2 has a genetic problem that it doesn't detoxify his body properly. And because of that, he had high levels of mercury, lead, and barium in his system that were making him extremely sick. So once we detoxified his body, eliminated the foods that he was sensitive to, he now lives a normal, healthy life. So we're very much about gut health. And just from that experience and the experience with my children, they were also having health issues, and they both also were diagnosed with leaky guts. So they have lots of food sensitivities. So we are a family that focuses heavily on gut health. So if you don't know anything about the gut and why it's so important, our gut contains tons of bacteria, good and bad bacteria, and it needs to be balanced properly. If that ratio is off in any way, then things can start to happen. So basically, if you are taking antibiotics, and there's even a study that I just recently was listening about, that if kids get antibiotics before the age of 5, their IQ actually goes down. So crazy. I didn't even know that about antibiotics. So if you're exposed to antibiotics, sometimes I know you have to take antibiotics, so it's really important that we work on our gut health after we take antibiotics or any kind of medication, depending on what kind of diet we're eating. It all affects our gut health. Even stress can affect gut health, not just what we always put in our mouth, but even the stress can affect our gut health. So really the makeup of our bacteria is really going to determine our overall health. So if your bacteria is off, you can actually develop things like Crohn's, colitis, irritable bowel syndrome. You can have psychological issues like depression, that's on the rise, anxiety's on the rise, even in really young kids, which is really sad. You can get skin disorders like eczema, psoriasis. You can get neurological disorders like MS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's disease. You could also even get inflammatory conditions like arthritis. You can also have issues if you have problems with losing weight. Sometimes that has to deal with your gut bacteria being off, and even being your insulin being sensitive. Like if you're not insulin resistant, I should say, can also be an issue if your gut is not healthy. So this is why I stress so much, and I teach so many of my clients about whatever issue they are going through, we have to find the root cause, and I always start by trying to heal the gut. So really cool thing that I was listening to, Dr. Michael Ash and Anthony Haynes out of England, they teach physicians and nutritionists, and they found that stewed apples, or what we call applesauce, can actually help heal and seal the gut, especially if you've taken something like antibiotics. So my kids love applesauce, and so that is what I am making today, a big batch of applesauce. And I'm keeping the peels on, and I'm going to tell you why. The peels, of course, is where a lot of the nutrition is. So when we're stewing apples, so basically you're going to take the apple, wash it, If you can't get an organic apple, I always like to wash my apples in a big tub of water, and then I put apple cider vinegar in there, and I let them soak for 30 minutes. And then after that, I'll do my chopping. So I chop up my apples, and I leave the peelings on. Now, my kids don't like peels, but it's okay. I blend it so well that they can't even taste it. But the reason I'm keeping the peels on is because we want the pectin. So when you're stewing the apples, you're gonna take some apples, and I never measure, I'm sorry. Take a bunch of apples, I put a little bit of water in, so enough to kind of like almost steam them. And you could add in raisins if you like. I keep mine pretty plain. I don't even add any sweetener. If you were gonna add a sweetener of some sort, I would add in something natural like unpasteurized honey. And then you could put cinnamon in later. But like I said, I always keep mine plain because I also use it in baking. So mine right now just has apples and a little bit of water. If you're gonna stew that in a pot, you're gonna do it for maybe about 8 to 10 minutes, or when the skin actually becomes shimmery. When the skin starts to shimmer, that means the pectin is released. The pectin is the fiber inside the skin. So it's no longer in the skin, it's on the surface of the skin. And what that means is that when you're eating the applesauce, it's more accessible and easier to digest. So it's gonna be able to feed your gut bacteria. So your gut bacteria needs prebiotics or this type of fiber to feed the good bacteria. And also it's gonna help heal and seal the gut, especially if you have a leaky gut. So I always say that applesauce is such a good thing. You know, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. That is where it comes from. This helps to heal and seal your gut that way. And it's really easy. So for me, I am short on time all the time. I'm always in a rush, it feels like. So what I've done, I've taken all my apples, cut them up, kept the skin on because it's easier that way. And I'm gonna use my pressure cooker, or what some people have as an Instant Pot. So I'm gonna put that in there. It's gonna be done in 6 minutes. And then after, when it's done in 6 minutes, I'm going to use my Vitamix. I'm gonna blend the crap out of it. That way the peelings and everything are not even gonna be noticeable to my kids. And then I put them in jars. So you either can can them if you like, or sometimes what I do, I just fill my glass jars, like canning jars up. I leave a little bit of room and I freeze them. And you know what? You can freeze them, no problem, in glass. I've been doing it for years. Nothing has ever broken on me, as long as you don't fill it to the top. You have to leave some space, and then that way they won't smash. And if you don't like applesauce, or if you're trying to find a way to heal and seal your gut, one of my #1 products I recommend is USANA's probiotics. These are not just any probiotics. Most probiotics that you find don't even survive your stomach acid. So if they don't survive your stomach acid, they're not gonna get to your intestines where they need to colonize. That's the important part of probiotics. The other thing that's really cool about our probiotics is that you don't need to refrigerate them. A lot of probiotics need to be refrigerated, and once you refrigerate them and you crack that bottle open, the potency of those probiotics go down. So we freeze dry them in individual sticks. This way the potency is at its highest point. You don't need to refrigerate them. And I literally actually use the applesauce to give my kids probiotics. Like, I pour the probiotics on the applesauce and they eat it. That's what they do. And sometimes I literally just dump it in my mouth, drink some water and swish it down, and that's it. They've made a huge difference in a ton of my clients, and people have gone to different probiotics and they've come back to me. Even if you have a baby who is colicky, especially those babies that were born by C-section, I know sometimes we can't get around that. They are not getting the good bacteria that babies get when they come through the vaginal canal. So especially if you have a C-section baby, sometimes they won't have that good bacteria that they need. Or if you have a baby that's having tummy issues, acid reflux, if they're a bit colicky, I've recommended these probiotics, just giving them like a quarter of the stick. And honestly, huge difference. The mothers love me after that because it's made a huge difference in their babies. So if you want to know more about USANA's probiotics, you can always contact me. I'm a huge believer in taking it on a regular basis because our gut is really what's going to determine our overall health. So you can take probiotics, or you could do the stewed apples. Now, if you've done something like, taking antibiotics because you didn't have a choice, I recommend having a serving of applesauce maybe twice a day for a good week at least, to try and again heal and seal the gut, feed those good bacteria, to rebalance out your good and bad bacteria in your gut. Okay. That was a huge mouthful. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something from something as simple as applesauce, and kids love it. My kids eat it all the time. It's a great way to give them good prebiotics, to feed their probiotics, and again, to help heal and seal the gut. Any questions, send them my way. If you liked this video, please share it. I would appreciate it so much. And again, follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me at Finding Your Well Spot. Have a great day.